Welcome to Module 1.
New lesson I would like to say about my two friends. I have two friends who have a very different way of uh, mingling with their children. I have my friend Reena who mingles with her children well. Whenever the children come up with any ideas or any thoughts, she tries to appreciate them, and sometimes she listens to what they say, and when they have to be scolded, she will scold, but she will give them some space. And I have another friend, Fatima, who is always nagging at her children. She does not listen to what they say. She always gives instruction. Why can't you clean your shoes? Why can't you clean your room? Why can't you keep your bags neat? Going on giving instructions, going on scolding. So what happens? What happens? I find my the first friend's child, to be very smart, very creative. And what about the other child? Though he has all the abilities, he is being suppressed. He is afraid to bring out his talents. So, what I feel is the children must be given their space. They must be allowed to express what they have in their mind. Otherwise, their creativity will be lost. Their thoughts will be stopped. We cannot bring out the completeness from them. So there's one famous Lebanese poet, Khalil Gibran. In his book The Prophet, he has written about many themes, a collection of poems. In that he has written about children. He is telling to parents, the children, they have come through you, not from you. You can give them your love, but not your thoughts. It is very true, isn't it? We have, that is, parents, they have lived in a completely different age, completely different environment, and today's children, they are living in a completely different environment. Their thinking, their actions, their desires, everything will be different from their parents. So we cannot impose anything on them. The parents cannot impose anything on their children. They can give them suggestions. They can help them create their own world in a better way. So that is what the parents should do. So we are going to learn a new poem, Amanda, which is written by Robin Klein. So in this poem, a teenage girl named Amanda is constantly being nagged by her mother.
The poet Robin Klein was born on 28 February 1936 in Kempe, New South Wales. She was educated in Newcastle Girls' High School. She was an established writer. This poem, Amanda, is written in a conversational style. One speaker, her mother, voices her view, whereas the thoughts of the girl are not uttered. It is written in parentheses. A young girl who is constantly nagged by her mother wishes to be away from home, and her thoughts carry her away from her home to the sea, to the road, and to the castle. And she is always away from the perpetual nagging of her mother. She loves to be away from home. Let's read stanza 1. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. These lines are spoken by the mother of a young school-going girl. She always tells her daughter to do something that she likes. Don't bite your nails, don't hunch your shoulders. She asks her daughter not to do something in an authoritative tone. She stops Amanda from biting her nails, from hunching her shoulders, and also she asks her to stop slouching and sit up straight. So that is an authoritative tone. In the second stanza, the thoughts or feelings of the child is given. She says that there is a languid emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. So she imagines herself to be in a sea where there is no one else. She is fed up and drifts into the world of imagination. She wants to be a sole inhabitant alone. A languid emerald sea. Emerald here means green color. Sole inhabitant, living in this beautiful world. That means the only one living in the beautiful world. And she wants to be a mermaid. You all know what a mermaid is. It's a mythical creature with the head and body of a woman and the tail of a fish. She swims over the sea with happiness. So that is what Amanda wants to be. In stanza 3, it says that her mother's tone, "Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda." Again, it shifts from imagination to reality. Here, again, the mother is asking the child some questions like, "Did you finish your homework? Did you tidy your room?" As if these are the works to be done by her. She again says, "I told you to clean your shoes." So the child is imposed with many works. Again, the authoritative tone of the mother and her rude behavior is stated in this stanza. The stanza 4 again shifts from reality to imagination. I am an orphan roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. So she wishes that her parents are not with her, to always nag her, to show authority over her. She wants to be an orphan so that she will not be scolded by anyone. She says that she could be free. She need not wear the shoes and she could be free with bare feet, patterning the dust. And she says that the silence is golden and the freedom is sweet. She loves freedom. She wants silence. In stanza 5, again the authoritative tone of the mother. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you, Amanda? So the girl is not looking at her mother when the mother is speaking to her. So that is what the mother wants her to do, to look at her while she is speaking to her daughter. See, don't eat the chocolate. And she wants her to remember the acne on her face. Usually the teenage girls, they would have the acne on their face. And she says, please look at me while I am speaking to you. Stanza 6, again an imaginary world where Amanda imagines herself to be Rapunzel. Rapunzel is a fairy tale character who has got a long hair. I am Rapunzel, I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. So away from the real world, again a world of imagination. Rapunzel has a very long hair. She was living in a tower. And from that tower, she let out her long hair. The young girl in a German fairy tale who was locked in a tower. So Amanda wants tranquility, that is peacefulness. So she says that even like Rapunzel, I will never let down my hair for anybody to get into the tower because I love tranquility, I love peace. Stanza 7, again the authoritative tone of the mother. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You're always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So though the mother is constantly nagging in an authoritative tone to her daughter, she does not want anyone to know that she had scolded her daughter. So that is why she says, stop that sulking at once. You can see from the picture what sulking means. You're always so moody, Amanda. Why can't you be so smart? Will a child who is constantly nagged, scolded, be smart? No. So this is what her mother likes Amanda to be. But Amanda is always in a world of imagination. like most of the teenagers are. Teenagers do not love to be scolded, but parents want them to be perfect. Thank you.